things, a lot of things that are really not that interesting. The entire day was incredibly engaging. Um, and John was on a panel at the end of a number of representatives from various lake associations who were talking about their I was going to say challenges, but I think it was mostly successes, but it was challenges and successes. Um, and what really struck Georgia and I was how they built their membership amazingly quickly. And I just thought, boy, if we could hear from them about some tips about how to get people engaged. I mean, clearly having 400 plus on Facebook, definitely a plus. But getting people to come to the meetings and participate, and it would be really helpful to us. Georgia, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
No, that's a great encapsulation.
So, so John, you're the president, right? I think from looking at the website, and Marvin, you're an officer as well, right?
Yes, I'm the president and Marvin's the treasurer. And Marvin and I haven't coordinated this before, but I'm happy to give some kind of high level comments and
All right.
then let Marvin add what he'd like to add. Um, in part because I think Marvin has really played a prominent role in our success, and I'm afraid he might underplay kind of what he's done and how important it's been. So, is that okay with you, Marvin, if I start out?
Take it away, John.
Okay. So, yeah, George's Pond had our first algal bloom in 2012. We had another one in 15, 17. And then in 18, it was pea soup. And it was just horrific. People, grandparents saying, our family's not even going to visit us this year, people not going into the lake. Everybody was really angry. Everybody wanted to sue somebody. Um, they we had no idea what the problem was. Marvin and I are not lake scientists. We didn't know much about any of this. Um, and but we knew, we wanted to fix the lake. So, luckily East Pond had just gone through an alum treatment, and one of the things we did was we reached out to Linda Bacon at DEP, and we reached out to Jen Jesperson at Ecological Instincts, and started to put together a plan of what to do. And we knew we needed a year of science to figure out what was going on. Um, and in the meantime, and we knew we were going to have to raise some money because basically our town unfortunately said they weren't going to help us at all. And so we were sleepy. We were like 30 members. We had like $3,000 in the bank, and um, I just assumed that we were going to need $400,000, and we needed to engage scientists and all of that. So the long story short is that we've done two alum treatments. We've completed two 319 grants. We've done two-thirds of all the properties with Lake Smart. At times we've had, two-thirds of all the property owners as members, and then we have friends of the pond who are also members. Um, and we've had the clearest water in our lake for the last 3 years. And today we had another virtual record Secchi reading, which is just, spectacular. And while, it was a lot of work, I think one of the most gratifying parts of it is that the communities really come together, and we've got people from all walks of life, from all political spectrums, from all economic spectrums, Um, but everybody wants clean water, and we were able to organize people around that and accomplish that. In particular, when we talk about membership getting from 35 to 200, I would say, a couple things that we did. Our strategy was one, to increase the size of the board because a handful of people couldn't or shouldn't do everything, right? We asked people while we were doing the year of science to engage and do Lake Smart. We said, give us a year, but in the meantime, you can do something and do a Lake Smart. So we did really well with that. Because we had to raise money, we were also asking people to contribute, and Marvin can talk more about that. And then we wanted to increase membership, and our membership cost was $25. Marvin and I intentionally left it at $25 because we wanted as many members as possible. Originally, you had to be a property owner on the lake, and we kind of said, to hell with that. Excuse me. Anybody who wants to help our lake, we would appreciate it. And by the way, some of the most generous people have been non-property owners for our lake. So I think one of the biggest things that has helped our membership is Marvin. Really, he's the treasurer, but he's also done our newsletters, and he's just a very considerate person. He writes thank you notes. Believe it or not, it was controversial to write thank you notes to people who gave money, which seems weird to me. But Marvin writes thank you notes. He really engages with people in a very genuine way. And we had a lot of increase in our membership as we were going through the bulk of our effort. In the last year or so, it's fallen off a little bit. But whenever Marvin sends out a communication uh, and asks for people to renew their membership, we automatically see people contribute and join. So I'll stop there, Marvin, and let you add whatever you'd like.
I have a question, if you could, if I could.
Sure.
Did you ever have a survey done? Did you ever have a survey done before you looked at the problem?
Oh yeah. Yep. We did a watershed survey. And then as we started to look at the problem, we did a 10-year watershed-based management plan that was approved by the EPA and all of that. And when everybody was trying to say what was wrong, it was the beaver dam, it was the blueberry fields, it was the power line, it was a change in the water line. I can go down a list of 15 different things that we all knew was the problem. In fact, somebody went up and blew up a beaver dam. But nobody said it was internal loading. None of us knew what internal loading was. So, and I don't know where you guys are in terms of your education, but that's basically phosphorus that's built up into the soil, into the sediment of the lake that comes out when it becomes anoxic and warm.
Now, you a deep lake or a shallow lake? I don't.
Our deepest part is 50 feet, but we kind of look like an inverted witch's hat. So there's not a lot of water volume at the deepest part, but the year after our bad algal bloom, the lake was clear, but in September, October, the phosphorus level at the deepest part was 1,000 parts per billion. Just so you guys know, the target is 10 parts per billion.
A lot. No. I have so many questions, but not enough time. Go ahead.
Okay. Marvin, you're up.
Oh, well, thanks, John. Let me maybe start by saying where we were in 2017 in terms of our membership and our funds and where we are today. By 2017, we had increased our dues paying membership to 57 members. There are approximately 140 properties on the pond. It's a roughly 350 acre pond. In 2017, we had grown to 57 members. Our expenses that year were $435, and we had built up our reserves in the bank, so we had $3,500. And so today we're in a different place. Between then and now, we've financed a $400,000 alum treatment of the pond, and we have contributed our portion of funds necessary to do the two DEP 319 grants to make improvements in the watershed. And now we have, after paying those expenses, we have about $120,000 in assets. Our membership is a little over 100. It's been as high as about 180. So we've grown, and then this year we are seeing a decline in membership, and we're trying to figure that out. I think it's not a sign of lack of commitment to preserve and protect the pond. I think perhaps it's the result of being so successful, and there's no longer quite the sense of urgency that has made it necessary for people to step up. Nonetheless, we have 100 or so members, and we bring in about 18,000 additional dollars in any given year. And our expenses for this year, I project to be about 7,500. So we're bringing in more money than our expenses, and we've been able to put money in CDs for the next big project that will come inevitably down the pike. So we're considerably stronger as an organization, both in terms of dues paying membership and our funds. I agree with John that one of the ways we moved forward in such a strong way is we had a very strong and engaged board. One of the first things we had to do in 2018 was hire water scientists who could diagnose the problem and allow us then to develop a plan to address the problem. And so to hire our consultants with that kind of water science expertise, we needed about $30,000. And so we started with the board and asked the board to contribute initially before we turned to the membership, and did a fundraising campaign for the $30,000. And we got pledges from the board of about $10,000. So before we went to the membership around the pond, we already had a third of the money raised. And in fairly quick order, the remaining money came in as well. So we were able to proceed and do the diagnostic work, which was the first step we needed to do. And we have both a website and a newsletter. The newsletter um, is sent out both in print as a mailing and it's sent out electronically. But our thinking was it's wise to have it in print because many people like to share it with others or spend time reading. And it's too easy electronically just to click on to something else. So we've maintained a practice of making available a print newsletter. Each newsletter costs about $500 and it has a circulation somewhere 250, 275. Um, so I think one of the factors that helped us to move forward was strong board leadership. And we had John was generous in his affirmation. I will have to say, John was a superb and remains a superb um, Lake Association president. So we hired the water consultants. We had a definitive diagnosis of what the problem was and a plan. And we used the newsletter and the website to provide as much information as people wanted about the diagnosis, about the strategy, about the plan, and kept communication going regularly um, so that people had the information and we were as transparent as we could be. Um, so, which I think served us well. Once the problem was diagnosed, we also then were able to get a um, more definitive estimate of the cost of an alum treatment, which came in roughly 350 to 400,000 that we would need to raise. And we launched a fundraising campaign again by starting with the board and making sure 100% of the board was engaged and contributing. And then we went public, but we first had a kind of silent phase where we raised a chunk of the money. So by the time we launched the campaign more widely, we had already, and I can't quite remember, John, how much we had raised before we went public, but we had a good sum of money already pledged.
Yeah, I mean, our goal was to raise at least half of it silently, I think. Um, and we may have exceeded that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Um, so when we launched a fundraising campaign, um, what I did was I went uh, to the town of Franklin tax rolls, which probably, as your lake property also is listed in the tax rolls with the assessed value and the amount of tax uh, to be paid in any given year. And I looked at the 140 properties around the lake, uh, totaled in aggregate what that came to, which I think it was about $13 million, and realized that we needed to raise the equivalent of 2% of our assessed property values in order to fund the alum treatment. And so we launched a 2% campaign where our ask was that folks consider paying 2% of their assessed property valuations. Some people gave us more, some people gave us less. What's impressive is 2/3 of the property owners participated in that fundraising campaign, which is an extraordinarily high participation rate. If you've done fundraising, getting 67% of a community to contribute is very impressive. And we gave people the option of paying their pledge over a 2-year period. And we also made a pitch that explained that what we were asking for was that people contribute the equivalent of the cost of 2 cups of coffee a day. And so when you chunk it down, contributing the equivalent of 2 cups of coffee for a good cause like restoring clean water to the pond seemed both reasonable and doable. And one of the reasons we did the 2% of assessed property values as kind of the benchmark of where we would like people to consider their donation is we needed to break the pattern that people were used to of paying $25 annually in dues. We needed bigger checks than $25. And so we needed to give people a very realistic sense of how much all of us would need to contribute in order to make this possible. And so we had to do some financial education about why the alum treatment, why phosphorus buildup was the problem, why an alum treatment was the appropriate strategy, and what the cost was. And I think because our communication was strong and consistent, because the board, including the board leadership, was accessible and talked candidly to folks who needed more persuasion, we, I think, were successful. And one of the things we did is when early pledges came in, we turned around and asked if those folks would be the ambassadors to go talk with their neighbors and friends on the pond, because nothing sells better than to say, I've made this commitment and I would like to encourage you to consider making this commitment as well. We held all the actual pledges confidential. We never listed any of the donors in terms of amounts given. We only listed names. So everyone was treated the same. No one was singled out as a high donor or a low donor. And I was the only one as treasurer who actually knew the pledges people had made. So the other thing maybe just to add is one of the unexpected byproducts of doing this alum treatment and the fundraising was that many of us who may have known a few people on the pond started making connections with people all over the pond. So this challenge has been extraordinarily powerful in building a vibrant community around the pond. And we're very proud of ourselves, sort of the little engine that could. We didn't have any businesses on the pond or deep pockets to come and rescue us financially. We did this heavy lifting ourselves, and people are very proud of what we've been able to accomplish and became terribly invested in then maintaining the pond once the alum treatment took place and the water clarity was restored. So about 3 years ago, we changed our membership option to introduce, in addition to the regular membership of $25 a year, a sustaining membership program where we invited people, sort of like Maine Public Radio or public television, to become evergreen members. We invited folks to consider becoming sustaining members of the Georges Pond Association and contribute anything between $5 a month up to $100 a month. Now our membership donations, sustaining members outnumber regular members 3 to 1. And our sustaining members give about 96% of our annual income, which is, again, very impressive. And I think one of the things the fundraising campaign for the alum treatment did is it taught us that we need to be ongoing investors in caring for the pond, not only financially, but doing ongoing education, for example, through the Lake Smart program, to find out ways that all of us can make improvements on our property and continue to do that, because that will, we hope, allow us to sustain the good water quality we now have well into the future. So let me stop and see if you all have any questions or comments.
I have a question again.
Sure.
Do you have a history on your pond of water testing and soil testing? You do, like we do. We have years and years and years on Sabattus Pond. So you had that, but you still elected to go hire somebody to come and tell you what the problem was.
Oh yeah, we had to. I mean, yeah. So I mean, our testing was just kind of simple SECI readings and stuff, and what Maine DEP has done on our lake since 1977. We have somebody who's been doing it more regularly than DEP did it, starting in the late 90s. But I mean, the testing that we did in our lake, as you guys may know, we mapped the bottom of the lake. We took soil samples from the bottom of the lake. We do, phosphorus grabs, every odd meter every month. We do SECI readings every 2 weeks. We were testing chlorophyll, we were testing phytoplankton, we were testing zooplankton. And I mean, we didn't know what was wrong. I think the scientists probably did, but the one graph during the summer when the water was clear, you could see the phosphorus building up at the bottom of the lake and starting to rise up into the rest of the lake. And it just became really clear that we had an internal loading problem.
So did you do anything outside of the alum? I mean, we talk about inadequate septic systems, we talk about runoff, we talk about erosion, we talk about all those things, fertilizer on your lawn, leaching into the pollen. Were any of those things addressed, or you just go for the alum treatment?
So we started with the alum treatment because that was going to give us, well, I want to say we started. The alum treatment had the biggest impact right away. But because we had to do the year of science, we actually started with the Lake Smart program. And, are you familiar with the Lake Smart program? Yeah, so, I mean, this is a very detailed survey that we go out and my wife has supervised 88 properties, like 60% of all the properties we've surveyed their property. We've given them a detailed explanation of what is happening with stormwater on their property, the improvements they can make. My wife does diagrams, suggests plants that they could do, drip line gardens, all kinds of things, what trees to plant. So we've done a tremendous amount of work for 60% of the properties. And then we've done $250,000 of erosion control work. We've done 8 road projects. We've done septic socials. Um, we've done open symposiums on how to plant. Part of our 319 grants, we go out and we do projects with people on their properties. So we've done a lot. And I feel like the state comes back to us and says, please do more. And frankly, because we've done all those Lake Smart properties and surveys, when we want to do projects, we know exactly who wants to do it. We know exactly what projects to do. We just have to, they just have to sign up and do them.
Good work. Really good work.
Thanks.
Can you explain again? I know we heard about the Lake Smart program at the conference, but there's an initial fee, right? You pay a fee and then they come to your property and then they do the assessment. Is that how it works?
No, not on our property at all. It's completely free. And I think it's a value. I mean, it's done by your volunteers, right? You're trained, you become volunteers, and I think you're giving people a $350 to $500 value to give them feedback and a plan for what they can do to improve their property. As Marvin said, every single property owner can do something to improve their property. So, I mean, I don't want to get way late because I want to let you guys ask questions, but to me, Marvin touched on it to some extent, but in economics, there's this concept of the tragedy of the commons that goes back to the old New England towns where there's a common square that everybody owned it. Well, when everybody owned it, everybody ultimately abused it, right? So how do you get a group to coalesce and work together, not in a selfish way, but in a way that is coordinated to improve a common resource? And ultimately, as we talk to different pond associations, it's all about building a community. Marvin mentioned it, I call it hand-to-hand combat. You know, going and talking to your neighbor and saying, join the membership, get a Lake Smart survey, contribute, join this. To me, I want everybody connected to our lake. I know everybody loves the lake. I know everybody wants clean water. I want to find what it is that connects everybody to the lake and then let them do it. Whether it's aquatic plants, whether it's the loon count, whether it's Lake Smart, whether it's the courtesy boat inspection or all of those other things. You're either, as I said before, we've got a diverse community, left, right, all different colors, all different economics. It's up to us whether or not we're going to build a community. As my wife's slogan was, she adapted it, the greatest threat to our lake is the thought that somebody else is going to save it.
I'll just add a PS if I could. Again, with Lake Smart, we started with the board. Before we ask anyone else to have an assessment of their property or share any recommendations for improvements that would impede stormwater runoff going into the pond, the board volunteered, many of us, to have our properties evaluated by Lake Smart. And then a number of us were trained to be lake smart educators. Ginger, John's wife, has sort of spearheaded that effort, but there's a cadre of us who have been trained. So basically, we were talking to neighbors about our own experience, about some improvements we made on our property and why that made a difference, and then encourage them to consider having an assessment done. And some people said, well, don't do a Lake Smart assessment because I want to do some things to fix up my property and then come and do an assessment after it's done. And we said, well, actually, no, you don't do the assessment after the fact. You do it to give you a sense of what are some of the best targeted strategies to maximize the benefit. And again, Lake Smart has been a kind of peer project where we haven't hired consultants to come in. We trained ourselves as volunteers and then spread that around the lake, neighbor to neighbor. And um, I think it's been very effective.
And I just like to add both improving the clarity of the water quality and also these Lake Smart projects that people have done have increased property values. And I mean, it is measurable that it has increased property values. So, and for our Lake Smart projects, we sought after some of the worst condition properties, and some of those properties have turned into the most attractive properties on the lake.
Now, how did you address the things that aren't property owners contributing to, like the erosion from washing across the roads and into the water or coming through the culverts? How did that get addressed? Because I mean, it's a big. I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying, how did you address those, or just the homeowners on the lake?
No, I mean, the roads are one of the biggest problems in Maine lakes, and our most expensive projects were road projects. So, and we did massive, I mean, for us, massive road projects, to control the water. I mean, I live on a road that goes through a blueberry field that at one time, had become a riverbed. And, I think it was 2017, there was January rain, and all this water ran down this gravel road and eventually down into the lake. And you could see brown dirt on the ice in the lake. And so part of our 319 grants were to get road consultants to come out and help us do this. And over the course of two big grant projects with them, we've really fixed that problem. And we put in a huge culvert last year, 2 years ago. And after the first big rain, the contractor who did it actually was one of the biggest opponents originally to doing it. He was so proud of the work because he came out in the rainstorm and you could see this river of dirt going right into the woods and going right into the ground. It was not going anywhere near the lake anymore. So the 319 grants are a great way to do that. And part of that was we subcontracted and got designs for how to fix the roads.
And you can access the 319 by doing the watershed plan, correct? Or having an up-to-date watershed plan.
I think that, oh, sorry. No, it should be in the book. Sorry. I think, I think, I think that helps. Ultimately, you write a proposal, and you tell them what you're going to do, and you give a description of, why you should be a high priority. I don't know you have to do the plan in order to get the grant, but I'm sure it helps.
Yeah, it is a requirement, so it does help.
Okay.
Yeah, to have it. I do have a couple of questions, and thank you so much for taking the time
Sure.
to speak with us. It's really I guess comforting to hear like a lot of the same like problems and struggles and like how you overcame them and everything like that as well. And I honestly love your wife's quote about the biggest threat to our lake is the thought that somebody else will save it. Because you know that just really resonates, I feel. It's
Or
been
that
a,
it can't be saved. So people just throw their hands up and don't want to do
yeah,
anything.
absolutely. And I definitely feel like our watershed and our pond, with three towns bordering it and five within the watershed, and part on septic systems, part on town water, it just adds a whole level of complexity that can feel very intimidating. But it's really great to hear these success stories like this and how you guys really did do that heavy lifting, boots on the ground type grassroots engagement and watch this stuff build from there and see successful results. How long, I'm curious, is your alum treatment expected to last? Did they tell you that when they issued it?
They didn't. I think it's reasonable to expect, 13 to 25 years. I think it depends on the other work that you do, which is
Yeah.
one of the reasons I'm really gung ho on all the other work. And I think we've done some really great work to help it last longer.
Mhm.
I'm hoping it could last 30 years.
That's great to hear, and I hope it does for you guys too.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any impact on like wildlife after the alum treatment?
Yes. So I mean, it's a little counterintuitive. You can, if you go down and you look at kind of the phytoplankton and the zooplankton, you'll see changes, and then you'll see changes in the fish and all of that. It's so the counterintuitive part is that kind of really clean lakes make for a little slimmer fish, not quite as fat of fish. Um, but the water plants have just responded really well. And I don't know that we've seen dramatic changes, but we have more loons than we did before. Um, the eagles like it, the osprey like it. We have a variety of wildlife just in, so I don't want to project anymore. I think you can. I mean, the clearest way to see it is in the phytoplankton and the zooplankton. I don't know that I can make any other generalizations about turtles and other things.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I'm assuming it was a drastic drop in the phytoplankton um, growth.
So yeah, actually, it changes. I mean, we actually had a little bit of a golden algal bloom afterwards because the light was getting deeper into the lake. So I mean, all lakes have every body of water has algae. It's
Mhm.
just the bad algae you don't want, and you want the cleanest you can get. But again, it's kind of counterintuitive. Ken Wagner's kind of the scientist we use, and he understands all those interactions. But it was definitely cleaner water. It's the cleanest water we have on record.
That's excellent. Yeah. And I know you guys have talked a lot about the successes and a lot of things, but is there one thing that stands out in your mind as one of the most challenging things? And how did you guys like work to move past that or like get over that hurdle?
So I'll just tell you a little story because you hear the success and you might think, gee, people were on board. So I think of communities in three parts: the people that are on board, the people that are never on board, and the people in between. And it's really focusing on the people in between. So we're doing the first alum treatment. It's during COVID. We need special dispensation from Janet Mills to allow our contractors to come from Nebraska in state. We have to be deemed essential workers to continue doing the project. And they arrive from Nebraska, and a local rapscallion, senior kind of prominent rapscallion, shows up and says, essentially, I'm going to shoot you. and I'm going to shoot the board. And the contractors say, okay, we're going back to Nebraska. So called the state police. They came in, they interviewed people. Um, they came back to us and said, okay, he's not going to do that. You're okay. You can go forward. What he's really upset is that people from Bar Harbor are buying up properties on the lake. So I mean, I guess I guess my Linda Bacon gave me this advice. You have to address the firecrackers, both the good ones and the bad ones, but the loudmouths, you have to address them.
Yeah.
And the sooner you address them, the better.
I mean, that really speaks to a lot of the social dynamics that come into these things and are often not thought about to an extent in the impact that they can have, but can certainly have an impact. So thank you for sharing that story.
Sure.
I think it also was one of the reasons in building up the board, we were very intentional about having a strong mix of folks on the board who were year-round residents, who were locals, as well as folks from away. We also have a member of the board who is a renter, who doesn't own property, but has been coming to the pond since he was a child and continues to bring his family from the Midwest each summer. Again, to add a voice. Two things before close. I just don't want to. Well, actually, three things before I finish anything I wanted to say. One is on our website, which is www.georgespondassociation.org. You will find archived all our newsletters by year. And the spring 2019 issue maps out the fundraising strategy. And so if you're interested in seeing how we presented the case, that's a place, well, there you go. Spring 2019, a call to action. There we go.
Yeah.
And the second page, if you want to scroll to the second page, there we go. There's sort of the summary of this. And we said that we were honest with folks. What would you get from your investment of 2% of the assessed value of your property? Well, we had good research data to say that property values decline when the water quality of a lake declines.
Mm-hmm.
And the reverse. You improve the water quality and property values go up. So one pitch we could say is protect the value of your property. But one of the things that I learned, which was both surprising and gratifying, is although property values matter to people, what matters as much, if not more, are family traditions and memories. Once we started having algae blooms, what began to happen was adult children and grandchildren no longer came to the lake to spend time in the summer. And what people began to realize is that if we didn't quickly fix the problem, the family ties to the pond were going to be severed. And so there was great urgency and desire to get this taken care of as quickly as possible. And so part of the motivation was preserve the property values, but a large part of it, if not larger, was protect our family memories, traditions, and summer experiences. And then the other thing I just wanted to say is what I learned about fundraising, I learned to a great extent from Jerry Tipper on East Pond. They were a couple of years ahead of us. And so Jerry did the fundraising. So when I, not knowing any better, agreed to do or lead the fundraising effort for George's Pond, fortunately, I could turn to Jerry. And so I feel like I'm paying it forward. And so this is my offer to you. If you all need any sort of uh, support or encouragement, I'd be glad to be available to you on one condition. And that is that when you have done your successful care of the lake, you turn around and play and pay it forward to the next lake that will turn to you to ask, so how did you do it? So feel free to be in touch with me. Anthony has John and my contact information, and you have the materials on the website. But if there's anything that comes up that I might um, be able to provide, I hope you will be in touch.
Absolutely, and that is a very kind gesture, and we most certainly will take you up on that to hear more of you guys' valued advice. And throughout this process too, we've been looking at a lot of other lake associations and trying to pull examples from them and getting in contact from them. Um, and it's been very rewarding in that sense to not
Excellent.
only see where we will be in hopefully 5 to 10 years, but the ways to get over those challenges and struggles along that journey. So
Excellent.
we do have time for probably one more question. I do want to open it up just for a little bit if you guys are willing to stay on. But I'll stop it at a little bit after 7 if there's any more questions. But PJ, you just went off mute. Do you want to ask a question?
No, sorry. That was a
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask?
And Nick,
Yeah.
when you went to the property owners around the lake and you asked them if they'd be willing to contribute 2% of the value of their properties, the one thing that come to mind would be I'm already paying a premium to live on the lake, and I'm not getting any of that money back except $3,000 a year they pay to the dam commission. But now you're asking me to give more. Did you meet that resistance at all, or was it easy to do?
Well, what I've learned about fundraising is that you don't raise money because you have a need. There are lots of needs, and people have lots of reasons to ask for money, but people don't give money because of a need. They give money because you've given them an opportunity to invest in something they care about. So the fundraising conversations never began with money. They always began with, tell me about your memories of the pond from when you were a child, or tell me about how your family loves to come and spend time on the pond. Why do you love the pond as much as all the rest of us do? We always began the conversations with what we valued. And then we said to keep the pond that we love and to make it available for the generations that will follow, now is our opportunity to step up. And we said, it is a demand, a demanding request, um, or a challenging request to contribute the 2%. But we also ask, what will happen if we don't step up? It will cost, there will be costs for not doing what we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think, um, you know, fundraising is all about relationships. It's about friend raising. And so my encouragement is start with what you value and you care about, why you love the lake you're on, and why it means so much to you and others, and then talk about how to preserve it.
That's sounds like excellent advice. Um, I don't want to hold you guys up any longer,
Yeah,
but thank you.
I can't think of a better sentiment to end on than friend raising and community building. That's amazing.
Yeah, I would say you guys were better than I knew you'd be good. You were better than I even thought. I mean, this was so great.
Well, and AB and Georgia, thanks for organizing. You guys did the heavy lifting to bring this group together. I'm inspired. I hope everyone else is feeling inspired, and we're excited for our annual meeting on Sunday. Amazing. Thank you all.
And
Great.
that was the reason I wanted to unmute myself, was just to say thank you. It was great listening to you and sharing in your journey. It was very, very moving and very certainly heartfelt. And thank you for the mentorship in this brief moment.
Well,
Great.
you're very welcome. We're happy to continue to help, and we wish you great success and confident that you will be successful.
Absolutely. And one last word. The irony in doing this hard work, it's great fun. It really has been a deep pleasure to do this good work together and see this fabulous result.
Yeah, one of the most gratifying things I've ever done. Yep.
So don't miss out.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys. You're more than welcome to stick on if you want to observe, but feel free to drop off too. And thank you so much again. Yeah.
You're
Take
welcome.
care. Good luck.
Thanks.
See you later. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. All right. That was excellent. Thank you again, Georgia and Anthony, for organizing that. That was really great to hear. Does anybody have any thoughts on it that they want to talk about now? This is recorded. I caught it right through the beginning of Anthony's intro, but we got everything. So it will be good to go back to and to post on our YouTube page as well. But thank you everyone for attending. Yeah, Georgia, Anthony.
I just think the timing of this was perfect right before our annual meeting. I'm hoping that we have a great showing on Sunday, but I think this is a little, I don't know, wind beneath our wings, to quote Bette Midler.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I saw a lot of similarities in like how we have been talking for so long about stuff like this too, which is really great to see. It makes me feel like we're, although sometimes it might seem that we're moving a little bit slow, at least we're on the right track in like building this community in that sense. And so I definitely want to just give a shout out to everybody who's been doing the work and who's continues to show up every week, who watches the videos. All of that stuff matters. It matters significantly. And everybody out there who talks to their friends and family about this cause and this group, all of that stuff helps. So
Unless I missed something, that the Lake Smart assessment seems like a no-brainer, right? I mean,
oh,
why shouldn't
absolutely.
I call them now? Why shouldn't we call them now and
Yep.
say, hey, will you check out our property?
Yeah.
I guess the negative is if what they recommend is expensive, right? And then you have to decide if you have the money to do it. But that seems like a no-brainer. And the second question I have is I should have asked them. He said something about septic socials. What is that? Some kind
I'm
of
not entirely sure. Yeah, I did hear that
talk about
too.
your various septic systems.
Yeah.
We'll ask
Maybe
offline.
talk about fixes, but yeah, definitely something to ask them offline too.
Yeah, septic
Yeah.
social.
Anthony, excuse me for a minute. I did a really quick, brief search when they talked about the Lake Smart, and it looks like your watershed or your lake association has to make that recommendation to be able to get your property done. See, when you look at it, see if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I was just listening to this, but skimming it to see, but it kind of was like, oh, ask your association to contact us and we'll be glad to come out. So I'm not sure they do it individually, but because I was thinking that would be a great thing too, but I could be wrong.
Okay, yeah, no, worth checking out, definitely.
And
Yeah.
I think I misunderstood, because I thought it sounded like he said, once they train you, then you go and do it.
I think that is part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a train the trainer type thing. And then, you work within your own community through your own social connections, and like, people know you, people see you, people trust you type of a thing. So,
Right. So then you go
It
do
looks
it
like
for
you
your
have to-
neighbors.
It looks like you have to do a webinar and then some in-person training, and then you're allowed to go. Again, I was listening, but very briefly, so I didn't do an in-depth thing, but that's kind of what I gathered from that.
awesome. Yeah, no, Kim, that sounds about spot on for those types of programs. I think we saw something similar with the Lake Stewards of Maine and like becoming an official tester with them too. So I mean, I was really, it was really great to hear their stories and stuff like that. So I really appreciate everyone coming out. A couple of announcements that I just want to get off before we maybe talk about something else. Of course, the annual meeting is this Sunday, August 10th, and starts at 11 a.m. It's at 44 Sunset Cove Road, Wales, Maine. It's the exact same place it was before. Please bring some camp chairs for your own comfort. I think there will be some tables, and we'll have a tent to block the sun as well. It is like we will be having some food there, but you're more than welcome to sign up on our potluck. If you're having trouble with the Google form or with the signing up for the potluck, just shoot us an email or send us a message on our social or text if you have the phone number too. And my phone number is all over this place. But no, I'm looking forward to the meeting. I will be up on Saturday, so I will see you all in person if you are there, and I'm looking forward to it. Kim? Yeah.
Sorry. Do we have what is the number of RSVP? Do we know offhand?
Oh,
I'm
Justin.
just trying to think about my side dish to make.
Yeah, Justin, I think, is on shift tonight. I don't know if he's on the call and has the website up, but we can
No,
post.
I'm still here.
Hi, babe.
Hi everybody. We're looking about 25 to 30-ish people who RSVP'd. I went back and looked last year. So last year we only had, I think we had 28 people RSVP last year, but we had over 50 show up. So I actually just during this meeting with George's Pond, I cross-posted the invitation on the Citizens of Green Facebook page. I posted it on the Sabattus Lake Fishing and Information page. And I'm going to go in and post it on the Sabattus Wales Litchfield community page just to kind of get the word more out there. So there could be 50 people, there could be 500 people. I have no idea.
Wow.
So what should Kim bring for a side, I think was what she's
Well,
asking.
I signed up for German cucumber salad, but I cannot make it for that many people. But I'll try because I'm coming up maybe that night or Saturday night. We're still in Massachusetts, so we'll see what I can do.
If that many people do show up, we got a lot of ducks and geese hanging out front, so we could have some waterfowl.
We'll DoorDash that real quick if we have to.
Yeah. Get some 40 pizzas or something. PJ, your hand?
I know that Anthony tweaked the invite after I made the note that there was a difference on Saturday and Sunday in the dates. But further into the invite where it lists date, time, and location, it's not tweaked there. So you may want to look at it. For people who don't come to this and don't talk to us and might be new to it, it might be confusing and they don't know which day it is.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll make those adjustments.
And I'm sorry, I have company flying in the night before, so I can't come.
That's okay.
Even though Justin said bring them.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'll see you all next year.
Perfect. Yeah. We will be having the 50-50 raffle too, which I think is just cash. Is that right? It was last year.
Yes, we are not equipped to do any other payment but cash. So bring some dollar bills. Yay.
Yeah. So that should be great. And we will have a few.
We have a few t-shirts, whatever's left over from the inventory, and Olive will be selling lemonade again this year for all profits to go to the Watershed.
The t-shirts are great. I have mine. I love it.
I love mine too. I wear it all the time.
I'm so glad.
Cool.
Yeah, when you get the sweatshirts again, I'm on board to buy one. So.
Yeah, no, I'm figuring take orders on Sunday or over time over the next few weeks, and then put in another order with them.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, like I said, I won't be there, but I want one.
Okay.
Awesome. And I just wanted to make a quick pitch to talk a little bit about the Vote in Green. it's kind of funny. It seems like we get over something and then something else like that kind of pops up. It was wonderful to hear that it was unanimous from everything that I've heard to stay within the dam commission. Makes you wonder how those things even get on there to begin with. But I'm glad that people showed up and people, made their voices heard. And I just really want to give a big shout out to Wayne, who, days before was calling people, calling elected officials, asking members from the Department of Marine Resources to show up, Casey to show up and speak and be invited officially, and it did so much work to try to get the word out. And Wayne, we don't deserve you. So
Thank
what are
you,
you doing here?
Wayne.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And and Gary, who's been maybe and others
Yes.
have been posting
Yep.
regular photos of the of progress. That's been pretty cool to see those.
It has been excellent, and I've been downloading them as they've been posting them, so we can have like a really nice historical record of that process, for years to come. So,
So Nick, that's
yeah.
we have to accept those the wins we got.
Mm-hmm.
Wins we've got is look at the people that attended that meeting. Every arm went up for the day.
Yeah.
This, I mean,
Sorry, am I still sorry? Thank you, PJ, for telling me about the date. I actually just went and changed that to say it further down where you were mentioning it. I went on those other websites to update it, and I posted it on the Citizens of Green Facebook page 37 minutes ago, and somebody removed it from the Facebook page. So apparently they don't want to come to our Lake Association meeting.
Oh,
What is that about?
I don't know. I might try to repost it and see what happens again. So
I think I might try to share it on there too.
well, maybe I need to post it because I live in Green.
yeah, I mean, I just copied and pasted it, and somebody deleted it. It was removed from the post. So I don't really know how you delete somebody else's post. I'm not really a Facebook.
Well, the only person who
expert,
can
so-
do it is the administrator, and he's posting all kinds of stuff on there all the time. But
Well,
I don't understand.
our annual meeting last year was posted on there. That was allowed to be posted. So I'm not sure.
Sometimes those
Whatever.
posts can just be like a temporary purgatory and they go back up after the admin looks at them. I know there's a advanced move where you can do that. But if not, if someone from Green wants to post it, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to do that, PJ, if you just want to copy and post and put it on the Facebook page, it might maybe that'll stick.
I'll
I don't
do it
know.
right now on my phone because I'm looking at you on my iPad, so I'll do it on my phone.
And I'm gonna just share some pictures real quick of the dam repair because they are really interesting to see. This is Sleeper Dam. This is it, very completely drained. And of course, we have all of this info too on our site, but just for people watching the video after the fact, over this way where my mouse is, that's Martin's Point, that's the boat launch, and you can see the previous water level and how far down it's gone. So crazy stuff. Thank you very much, Gary and Lou and everyone else who's been posting stuff. Brian Marsh as well. He's been posting a lot of things. And it's just really exciting to see. And I think maybe like about a year and a half ago or something like that, we were worried that if this thing would ever happen, or if it would pass. And it's great to see this come to fruition too, because I know we all put a lot of work along with the Dam Commission members to really help to get this thing passed. So, but we're a lot over. Oh yeah, PJ, go.
Justin, can you just message it to me because I don't have the new updated one.
Sure. Yep, I can do that.
Okay, thanks. Sorry.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah. No, that was it. That's all I have. Anything else anybody wants to talk about, or we all set?
we'll see you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday.
Yay, Sunday. Bring friends. Everyone's welcome.
Yes. Thanks so much, everyone.
All
Good
right.
night, everybody.
Hey, see you Sunday.